Hi there, listener. We, the editorial team of The Manufacturer, have the great privilege of bringing you interviews from some of the best manufacturers, leaders, industry analysts, young pioneers, innovators, and solution providers. But sadly, we can't possibly fit all of them into our podcast episodes. Fear not, though, because you're listening to Archives, a platform where you can hear these fascinating and thought-provoking interviews in full. In this episode, we delve into the heart of what makes Gripple, the TMMX Manufacturer of the Year 2022 award winners, so unique. Special Projects Manager Gordon Macrae had a chat with us at the Manufacturer studio on the show floor of Smart Factory Expo.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to Smart Factory Expo. I'm Lana, part of the editorial team at the Manufacturer. I am here at the Manufacturer studio at Smart Factory Expo with Gordon Macrae, Special Projects Manager at Gripple.
Good morning.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
So, Gordon, your colleague Trina Ritchie is doing a keynote at SME Growth Summit on why HR is banned at Gripple. So maybe if we could start by you telling me why the decision was taken to ban HR at Gripple.
Okay, so I think you go back about 20 years and our chairman Hugh Facey had a number of experiences in his career, and what he'd come to understand was that HR was all about stopping people doing the things that he felt they should be doing and focusing on procedures and basically not allowing the development of the individual. So as we grew and we developed Gripple, his focus was very much on developing the people and the culture, and as a result of that, he basically said, we're not going to have an HR department, we're actually going to focus on people and culture.
What has been the impact of this, specifically for the people and culture team, and then the broader company in general?
Well, I think the first thing it does is it focuses you on your people. And by focusing on the people, that's about the acquisition of people, it's about the retention and development of people. And what it really means for the company is that we focus on really trying to create a really nice, inviting workplace where people are inspired and people actually can give of their best. So I'm very clear that not being restricted by petty rules. One of the interesting things is that we don't have job descriptions, we have job roles, and again that focuses on the individual, because what that means is that we look at the skills the individual has, their attitudes and where they believe that they can contribute to the business. And we basically put that to work within the business. And what we're actually very clear about is that people go the extra mile, and the company benefits by having people that buy into our approach.
That sounds great. What does the people strategy look like at Gripple? And how has the banning of HR really sort of shaped this? Okay,
so our people strategy has developed over the years as we've grown. So, 20 years ago, we probably had 150 employees. Globally today, we've got over 1,300. So there's been significant growth, and we've had to develop our people culture to reflect that. And, all credit to Katrina in particular, who looked at what we're doing and identified that the starting point should be about culture. And she devised, together with a number of other people in the people and culture team, the Gripple Spirit. And the Gripple Spirit is a set of basic values, human, really fundamental values around some interesting concepts: fun, passion, innovation, teamworking and caring. So those make up the essence of what our business is all about. And what that actually means is that as a team with that set of values, people look out for each other. And that's not, that's not a shallow talk. It really happens. If somebody gets into difficulty, and people do, they're supported not only by the people and culture team, but also by the broader employee community within Gripple, and that's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And probably the second thing to talk about is what underpins our people and culture strategy is employee ownership. So everybody in the business is a shareholder. In our terminology, everybody has skin in the game. And what that means, it's not simply that you've got share options. It means you've got a voice. And we like being challenged. If you see something that's wrong, you're empowered to challenge people. And that doesn't happen very often in many businesses. And we treat that as being sort of positive. We have a great set of policies now in place in our people and culture team around the acquisition of talent. We have some of the most amazing apprentice and graduate schemes, and in fact a number of our graduates at the moment are around the world on sustainable development projects with Operation Rally, where it's a novel way of learning, but they get hands-on experience, both of leading teams in an unusual environment and actually contributing. So, that's part and parcel of it. I think the attitude of the whole way that we go about was exemplified during COVID, where we had people working from home, and our supply chain team were delivering components to people at home to manufacture, and we all felt that that was part and parcel of what we needed to do to support the business.
Yeah. Well, Gripple is sounding like an amazing company to work for.
It fundamentally is, yeah.
So what would you say the difference between traditional HR and the whole people and culture team is at Gripple?
To be fair, I think traditional HR has actually now begun to make the journey closer to where we are, and they've recognised that HR is more than simply rules and regulations. But I think the thing that makes us stand out is our focus on people and our focus on culture. Those are the two things that we put most time and effort into. And by doing that, rather than focusing on, perhaps some of the traditional personnel regulations, we're clear that we get better productivity from our people. And that leads through to the performance of the business. And if you look at the performance of the business, in a pandemic last year, we hit 100 million turnover with a 14.5 million pound profit. And that is largely down to the focus and desire of everybody in the business to succeed.
I can imagine, especially because you spend so much time at work. So if you're happy, then that is really going to affect your productivity and how you work.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And there have been a number of people that over the years who've actually said to me that, if you take the infrastructure that we've got, I remember one of our young apprentices saying, well, if my girlfriend kicks me out, can I come and sleep in the Glide Lounge? No, you can't. But that's indicative of what we try to do. So we create inspiring environments, number one. The second thing is that we like to have fun, and we are at work for 8-9 hours a day. I think lots of businesses, if you walk around them, look really challenged. People look glum. What I'd like to think is if you walk around a Gripple factory, people will talk to you, people will feel motivated, and you'll hear them having an occasional laugh.
Well, that is great to hear. So what's the advantages of keeping rules and policies to a minimum, and how does this impact the company culture?
We've always been a great believer in light touch systems, rules and regulations. You need to have some. You need certainly to have an environment where your staff are safe, and health and safety of our employees is the fundamental driver. But we don't do that by having a 450-page manual. We make people responsible for it. So if you see something that's wrong, you're empowered to fix it. The second aspect to that is that by having light touch systems, you're more likely to get an individual to be empowered to come up with a better and a more innovative solution. Part of our culture is to challenge convention. And in challenging, convention, often you'll come up with something that's better than what we've got at the moment. So, systems have a place, and I think as we've been on a digital journey, our systems have moved from manual to more digital. But fundamentally, at the heart of everything that we do, we don't want our systems and our processes to drive the business. We still want them effectively to be made and decisions to be made by our staff.
And what's the correlation between empowering managers, increased morale, and also their productivity?
I often think that the best way of describing that is through a thing that we call the Net Promoter Score. So that's a measure of how your customers see you and what percentage of them would be prepared to recommend you to somebody else. In the 2022 Net Promoter Score survey, we ended up with 73% of people would do that. And that's indicative that our staff are actually going the extra mile to service our customers. And that's fundamentally why we're in business. But if you then look at some of the other metrics that are actually important in terms of performance, there's a number of surveys that have come out of America which say that employee-owned businesses probably perform between 5 and 10% better than a traditional business. And if you then couple that to a focus on innovation, you get another 5 or 10%. So potentially the benefit to the business of our approach is up to a 20% improvement over a competing business.
And that's because they have that incentive to sort of push themselves that bit further.
Absolutely. So the Gripple spirit is the thing that drives and empowers all of our staff. It's how we recruit people today. Skills are important, but actually what's much more important to us is to have individuals that buy into that Gripple spirit. So we try and acquire talent using the Gripple spirit framework. We then appraise them effectively on an annual basis. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen an appraisal form where you've got fun on the appraisal, but that is part and parcel of it. And the whole development program then builds from that attitude.
And is this a model that you think could or should be rolled out across all manufacturers?
I think it's gaining. So employee ownership is something that we're really passionate about. The government has an aspiration of having between 10 and 15% of businesses that are employee owned, and that's the employee ownership model. But what I'm really clear about is that a successful business is not necessarily built on digital or innovation. The building blocks actually have to be your people and your culture. So too many businesses today still talk the talk without actually delivering on a people strategy. I was struck by a comment by one of the MX judges who said to us that we potentially were the first company who made the talk, but actually she believed that we were actually doing it. Fundamentally, it makes a difference. And, I think if we're to be a successful manufacturing nation, the building blocks need to be a focus on people and culture, and then to embed above that your digital and your innovation. And if you can do that, then I think we've got a very rosy future for manufacturing in the UK.
Definitely, and we want to keep it that way for
Absolutely.
UK manufacturing. So how do you think the people and culture team at Gripple will evolve in the future?
I think one of the things that it's probably fair to say is that the framework that we use is continually evolving. The language over the last 5 years has changed as we've learnt. So we've tried things; they've not always worked. But we're a learning organisation, so we take that knowledge and build it in. I think the biggest challenge for us is that our aspiration is to double the business over the next 5 years from 100 million to 200 million. That probably means onboarding another 800-900 people. And the challenge is to maintain the culture that we've got, to perhaps embed it, deeper, in particular in our international operations. So we try to have the same culture delivered slightly differently with a local nuance right across the world. But that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. That's going to be a big challenge. And I think the next big thing is learning and development, and we've invested in a new learning and development platform. We've got 450 pieces of learning that's on there, and we need to make sure that the people and culture team develop that learning in line with what we think our staff need to deliver on that growth.
Well, thank you so much, Gordon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show and the summits.
Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed that, listener. Keep an ear out for more episodes like this one, and of course for more episodes of the Manufacturer podcast. Whatever streaming site you're listening on, be it Spotify or Apple Music, be sure to give this podcast a follow and a rating. And if you're watching this on YouTube, why not subscribe to our channel for the latest video content?